Yo, 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 what up with y'all? It's your boy Sel. I'm back here with another video. My apologies. This video was supposed to be out on Friday, but you know, computer complications held me up. But anyways, man, unless you've been living under a rock, we all know Queen Elizabeth has passed away at the age of 96. Passed away in her palace in London. Now I know, we have seen a lot of memes and jokes about her death. And you know, her death made people kind of reflect on the British Empire in Africa, in Asia. For that reason, people are celebrating. People are happy. But one hand we have people mourning. Celebrating. In the other hand, we have people not too happy about that. We got Fox News' very own Tucker Carlson, I believe, how you say his name. He went on a whole rant about this. Now let's see what he got to say. Let's see what he say. Hold, wait. Let's watch.
Queen Elizabeth II died today in Scotland, as you likely know, at the age of 96. She was the longest-serving monarch in British history. She was born in one world and died in another. It's not easy to maintain your dignity while living in the public eye. Most of us could not pull it off for an afternoon. Queen Elizabeth did it for more than 70 years. I want to ask you all, she wrote shortly before her coronation in 1953, whatever your religion may be, to pray for me on that day, to pray that God may give me wisdom and strength to carry out the solemn promises I shall be making, and that I may faithfully serve him and you all the days of my life. For the most part, she did just that, and that was not a small achievement given the period she lived in. This day, Britain claims to have won both of the 20th century's world wars, but together they destroyed that nation forever. After victory came humiliation. The empire evaporated, and along with it, Britain's self-confidence and ultimately its self-respect. It's hard to believe now, but Britain wasn't always a regional banking center/refugee camp. It was a real place with a history and a language and a culture and a genuinely remarkable people.
Tucker, are today's British people not just as genuinely remarkable? What is different about today's Britain and yesterday's Britain that makes it different today? He has a statement where he's talking about Britain is a refugee camp. And obviously his tone is not one where he takes liking of this, right? He doesn't like... It's so funny. Like, you guys are descendants of the biggest migrators ever. Y'all moved to every nation. When I come to your land, I respect the rules. When you came to our lands, you disrespected the rules and you made your own rules. Okay? At least my stay is a lot more respectable than yours. I don't understand. What's the problem? We were refugee camps to you at one point. Why can't you return the favor?
A country in the North Atlantic the size of Alabama that somehow took over the world and ruled it with decency unmatched by any empire in human history.
Decency. Decency.
Decency unmatched by... Decency unmatched by... Decency Today on social media, the usual ghouls celebrated her death. Quote, "May her pain be excruciating," a Carnegie Mellon professor called Uju Anya wrote on Twitter of the Queen. "May she die in agony." Various know-nothings in the media, including a columnist at The Atlantic and a couple of employees of NBC News, seconded that thought. The British Empire was evil, they wrote, apparently totally unaware of what came after it. And speaking of what did come after the British Empire, how, for example, did Africa fare after the British left? Let's see. Uganda got Idi Amin, who was a cannibal. Rhodesia became Zimbabwe and then became the poorest country on the planet.
Okay, so my nigga, are you arguing for colonization? Bro, let's be real, bro. I understand you want to respect the Queen and let's not disrespect. I agree with you, but let's not lie and act like what the British did in Africa was somewhat productive for Africans. What the fuck did it do for Africans? Especially European colonization of Africa, especially British, was a one-way street, my nigga. The natives did not benefit at all. Why do you think that is? Why do you think every African nation is developing now? You don't ask those questions? You don't think it has any testament to how cruel they were dealt with when they were colonized? Let's say this. Let's say I come to your house with a group of people uninvited, completely disregard you in every way, steal your money, your clothes, your food, everything in the house. Then I stay in your house for long enough where you can't get me out. And then when I finally leave, I took everything with me. But you got your house back, you got control of your house back, but at what cost? There's nothing there for you anymore because I took everything. Now apply that same logic and literally it will go with how it went in Africa. That's why these nations don't have anything. Maybe it was the intervention of those people in those lands that led them down that way. Not because they left. Because they already had it before. They already had it. The Queen Elizabeth, all her glory and all that diamonds, all that beautiful diamonds she had on during her life, where did they come from? They came from Africa. The one diamond on her crown is like a $300 million, damn near $1 billion diamond. In London, they have a big old museum filled with stolen artifacts. You to sit here and say, when the Europeans left, they didn't improve their nation. They couldn't improve their nation. Let's not lie. A lot of these people got their independence when? In the 70s, 60s? And when they got their independence, they were puppets. And even if they weren't, they were operating with nothing. Their country was just raped for like hundreds of years. What could they do?
Hard to see any of that as an improvement because it's not an improvement. Sorry, Atlantic Magazine. And now, of course, the entire continent of Africa has a new master, the Chinese government. China is the latest colonial power to dominate Africa. Its subjects will be pining for the British soon, assuming they are not already.
Funny, he brings up China and the American, British, Italian, whatever, any French, whatever old colonizer of Africa, they love bringing up the Chinese. Look at the Chinese meddling. What the fuck did y'all do? At least the Chinese, it's not as bad as that. Nobody likes the Chinese, right? And Africans know what the Chinese are doing. We have a whole bunch of puppet leaders that care nothing about their pockets. That's how the Chinese get away with the shit they do. I'm from Ethiopia. My country is the biggest Chinese colony, if you ask me, right now, in the world. Our capital city was damn near rebuilt by the Chinese. All of it. And it's so funny. This comes from an American, right? And he's defending British imperialism. What was America birthed from? British imperialism, I know, and you are a descendant of that. But were Americans in the 1770s not, no taxation without representation? What happened to all that Boston Tea Party bullshit? You too were protesting against the British Empire at one point. Wasn't so great then, was it?
In the real world, the one that we live in, strong countries dominate weak countries, and that trend shows no sign of changing. The very least you can say about the English is that they took their colonial responsibilities seriously. They didn't just take things, they added.
What did the British add to any colony ever? Their fucking queens on their dollar bills? Every nation that was colonized by the British is doing horrible. Show me good examples. I'll wait. I'm not going to tell you anything new about Queen Elizabeth or the British Empire or any other empire from Europe. Look at this graph. This is a graph of every nation invaded by British. There's a reason people hate these people. You have to ask that too. Why are they hated? What did they do? This is their tale. They have a tale of trauma and atrocity everywhere they go. No matter how you spin it, turn it, just because it sounds like this nigga is just praising the fact that they were a superpower. So what? They were really good at conquering people. That is amazing, I guess. Now what? Now where do we go from here?
When the US government withdrew from Afghanistan after 20 years, we left behind airstrips, shipping containers, and guns. When the British pulled out of India, they left behind an entire civilization, a language, a legal system, schools, churches, and public buildings, all of which are still in use today.
That's the shit I'm talking about right there. You see what that bullshit he just said? The ignorance that he just displayed? India has some of the oldest civilizations in the world. Indians were like the first. They have civilizations back then. They had toilets before people were thinking of disposing their shit in piss. Indians been around. You didn't leave no civilization nowhere. They had their own written language, own customs. Ain't no way you talking about India out of all countries in the world. India? You know how old India is? You know how old their kingdoms are? How great and grand they were? The reason these people went to these countries in the first place, Tucker. It wasn't because these people were... But that's another thing, bruh. Right? During colonization, there's a thing called the white man's burden. I learned about it in high school, right? The white man's burden, what it was it was their burden. We have to civilize the world. The world needs us. They need our language. They need our religion. They need our way of life. Right? That's why all across the world there's certain standards that's held because of this bullshit. Their civilizations were far greater than the English civilization. That is a fact. Their civilizations were better. Considering the time periods, these ancient civilizations that you visited, act like you left something there that they didn't have 1,000,000 times better than yours. Who the fuck are you to say that? Come on, Tucker.
Here's the train station the English built in Bombay, for example. There's nothing like that in Washington, D.C. right now, much less in Kabul or Baghdad. Today, India is far more powerful than the UK, the nation that once ruled it. And yet, after 75 years of independence, has that country produced a single building as beautiful as the Bombay train station that the British colonialists built? No, sadly, it has not. Not one.
Yeah. Keep in mind, all these were built before English colonization in India. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Documented. Not only are the ancient civilizations documented, but the torture brought on by these British people is also documented. So just take it in. When you listen to somebody that just talks with big words and has no substance, this is the face you look at. This type of nigga right here.
So despite what they may be claiming on Twitter tonight, the British Empire was more than just genocide. In fact, the British did not commit genocide, except arguably against the Dutch during the Boer War. The British did give the world the Magna Carta and habeas corpus and free speech. They helped end the transatlantic slave trade, as well as the ritual murder of widows in India.
The British was a part of the transatlantic slave trade. My nigga, what are you talking about? They were beneficiaries of that slave trade that you just mentioned. They started it, helped start it. They were transporting 42,000 Africans a year. The British by themselves during that time. So what the fuck are you talking about, man?
The British Empire spread Protestant Christianity to the entire world. It published some of the greatest literature ever written and produced the finest manufactured goods ever made anywhere at any time, including now. It was an impressive place run by impressive people. We will see many empires going forward, but we will never see one so benign. That's true. And because it's true, the people who would like to run the world in a far harsher way would like to make certain that you don't know it. Destroy the statue, erase the memory. That's why they're doing it. Slander the ruler, discredit the entire period she lived in. And that's exactly why they're attacking Queen Elizabeth tonight. Not because she was a bad person, she wasn't a bad person, but because she lived during a better time.
Pack watch. We're gonna get high off that pack. Anyways, I'm not listening to any more of this bullshit. This is what I have to tell you, okay? Queen Elizabeth was a bad person for the way she handled her regime, her government, her kingdom, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Queen Elizabeth, bad guy, right? Just like every other European empire that participated in the scramble of Africa. They're no different, right? There was no pros of colonization. There's no facts in this video. No pros of colonization, only for the colonizer, all right? Remember, every time you remember her sweet little smile, remember all the artifacts that are still held in London, England. I'm Ethiopian. They held on to a lock of Ate Tedros hair. Hair from an emperor in Ethiopia for hundreds. Why? These niggas were weird. They were weirdos, bro. The British were weird. A whole museum with hella artifacts, so much history that they stole from people. All their jewels and all these things they wear come from foreign nations, and they're not produced in England. So yes, Tucker, people are happy that somebody from an empire like that, who went around the world trampling over people, taking their rights away, replacing their culture with hers, telling them they're wrong. I'll be happy too if that happened to me, right? So, how about this? How about you understand history, read history for truly what it is, right? And you understand the reality and why people feel this way. This is not a Democratic, Republican, American issue. This is very much corrupt queen meeting her day. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. Nobody was saying shit when Osama bin Laden died, did he? Americans were jumping up in the streets. Why? Why? He didn't do as much. He doesn't have nearly as much blood on his hands as Queen Elizabeth did. But yet we celebrated Osama dying, right? Okay then. Let these people celebrate in peace. It doesn't cause you no mind. It doesn't cause you no money, nothing. Just hop off dick, Tucker. Thank you very much. That'll be all for this video. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. If y'all disagree with me, y'all love Queen Elizabeth, y'all have anything else to say, I'm open, alright? I don't criticize on this channel. Everybody from every ideology is able to come on my channel and comment their opinions, for real, right? Just be careful, because I will check you, right? But it's okay, we can have an open dialogue. I love you all. It's your boy Sel. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And boy Sel, we out.